I'm a younger coaster enthusiast, and I wanted to do a video like this sooner rather than later, so when I update my list at the end of 2025, there will be more change. I'm going to Six Flags Over Georgia, Fun Spot Atlanta, and Cedar Point this summer, while also getting the credit on Pantherian, because it wasn't open the last time I went. But so y'all kind of know, the parks I've been to are Busch Gardens Williamsburg, Carowinds, King's Dominion, Kings Island, the 4 Disney parks, and Islands of Adventure, minus Velocicoaster. So all the coasters from these parks are in contention for my top 25. But anyway, let's kick it on. To kick off my top 25 is Loch Ness Monster. It's a lot smoother since the retrek, and I was blown away by it during my re-ride in early April. 24. The Bat at Kings Island. This is my guilty pleasure coaster, just a good old aero suspended coaster. It lacks a lot of forces, but this model isn't really supposed to have any. 23. Grizzly, King's Dominion. Big jump from the Bat. This is when we get into the truly great coasters. Filled with airtime, and the first 2 drops are so floater heavy and smooth. The second half of the ride is the only reason it's all the way up at 20. It's all the way at 23 and not higher. 22. Dominator, King's Dominion. Super underrated by enthusiasts, fun B&M looper, and has a great sense of speed. There's a small amount of headbanging, but that's a minor nitpick. 21. Tron Light Cycle Run at Magic Kingdom. I'm gonna say it, I was massively disappointed with this coaster. But despite that, it's perfectly themed and has the Disney vibe to carry it to the top 25. But the launches are great, but not too punchy. It could be better, but I'm not gonna complain. 20. Expedition Everest, Animal Kingdom. My second favorite coaster in the Disney World Resort. It's so beautiful in the skyline, and the ride has a surprising amount of force and whip. Everything from here on to spot number 9 is amazing, but just short of elite. Things could be better, but they're still incredible rides. Number 19, The Beast at Kings Island. It's always worth the wait no matter what. Kings Island does a great job of taking care of this coaster, and it's really cool to see how they just made up the layout as they went along. Number 18, Rapterra at Kings Dominion. My first ride on this would have had it in my top 15, but unfortunately our last 2 rides on this were super rough and the restraints hurt. The elements are great and the launch is super punchy, so that's why it does make my top 20. Number 17, Verbolten at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. I did this when I was 9 or so, and it was my favorite coaster ever. I got to re-ride it on it this year, and it was good, but it wasn't as elite as I remember. Number 16, Afterburn at Carowinds. If you had asked me a year and a half ago before I was a coaster enthusiast, I would probably say I have Afterburn in my top 5. I've gotten re-rides on it since, but it's gotten a little shaky, and I've started enjoying other rides more. I might just be that I've done it so much that the forces have just kind of not felt special anymore. Number 15, Apollo's Chariot at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. The B&M Hypermodel is my favorite coaster model. Floater airtime is a top 3 sensation for me on a coaster, and I think probably number 2 overall. Apollo's Chariot does it so well, and the setting is great. Criminally underrated roller coaster. Number 14, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure at Islands of Adventure. Going from an underrated coaster to an overrated coaster. People talk about how this is the greatest family coaster they have ridden, and I will agree that it is great, but it is not my number 1 favorite family coaster. But it did make my top 15. The only reason it did make the top 15, though, is because of the theme and the uniqueness of the ride. If it didn't have a drop track in the backwards section, it probably would not be in my top 25. Number 13, Copperhead Strike at Carowinds. I said earlier that floater airtime was my second favorite sensation on a coaster. The other 2 in my top 3 are ejector airtime and hang time. And no coaster has done hang time better than Copperhead Strike so far. And the ejector moments are great. Not Twisted Timbers level, but still awesome. Number 12, Banshee at Kings Island. People normally like inverted coasters that have whippy moments. I like inverts that are graceful and have a ton of speed. Now Banshee fits that perfectly. The Batwing element does have whip, but it's also not a ton, and it makes it a little graceful as well. The coaster mixes in the graceful elements of Alpengeist and the whipping moments of Afterburn, and that's why I like it so much. Number 11, Griffon at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. The coaster is carried by one thing. Can you guess what that is? The first drop. That is the best first drop I've ever experienced with Fury 325. I would probably say number 2. Now the rest of the ride is extremely mid, but the drop is so good it has to be at this spot. Number 10, Thunderstriker at Carowinds. Floater airtime. Thunderstriker is amazing. I've had days where I do this 10 to 15 times a day. It's that good. It's a coaster I just want to lap over and over again, and since I rode it in the back row for the first time, I've never wanted to ride it in any other row again. If you're not doing it in the back row, you're not doing it right. Number 9, Alpengeist. My favorite invert I've ever done. 90% of this ride is extremely graceful, and the other 10% is extremely whippy, which is contrary to what other coaster enthusiasts say. I've heard reviews about this being 90% whip and 10% like gracefulness, and that's just not true. This thing's extremely graceful, but the other 10% has got that intensity to it. The Cobra Roll is what I'm referring to, and it just adds to the experience. It's a great ride, and I just want to do it again and again. Number 8, Orion at Kings Island. This is a super controversial coaster. Some people will say this is too high, and some people will say this is too low. But I think Orion is about in the middle of what people think. I've seen guys like Coaster Dash put it pretty high in their top 50, and then I've seen people not even put it in their top 100. But with what I've done, I think this is the perfect spot for it. And it's got more of a hyper coaster layout, yet it has the height and speed of a Giga coaster. Number 7, Incredible Hulk at Islands of Adventure. In a way, this is my favorite coaster I've ever done. I did this maybe a year after I went to Busch Gardens for the first time, and this had dethroned Verbolten for my number 1. The incline launch out of the tunnel is great, and the onboard audio is out of this world. This is a ride I really like to be whippy, and it does it so well. Number 6, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at Epcot. I think this is the greatest family coaster ever. Not Hagrid's, but this. The onboard audio is amazing, especially if you get Everybody Wants to Rule the World or Iran. The controlled spinning is perfect, and the air conditioning in the ride building makes it seem like you're getting all that wind across your face like you would get on Fury. 10 out of 10 experience. Number 5, Diamondback at Kings Island. Now I know what you're thinking. You have Diamondback above Orion? Yes, it's a longer ride and has better floater airtime. The whip you get over the first drop in the back is unmatched, and the setting is beautiful. No B&M Hyper is better than this. Can't wait to get on Goliath and see if it can take that throne. Number 4, Twisted Timbers at Kings Dominion. My favorite sensation on a coaster is ejector airtime. I said this earlier, but I don't think I emphasized it enough. The barrel roll down drop is also great on this ride, but I think the problem with it is that and the reason it's not in my top 3 is because it doesn't have enough variety of elements. The whole thing is just ejector hills, and I think it needs more. Number 3, Mystic Timbers at Kings Island. That's where this comes in. It's got great ejector hills, but it also has a variety of elements, and you take every one with more and more speed. It also has that classic wooden coaster feel, even though it was built in 2017. This is my favorite coaster at Kings Island, and we got a great fireworks ride on it last July, and that made me appreciate it more. Number 2, Pantheon at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. There is something about Pantheon's swing launch that I've never felt before. This speed going backwards and the whip you get over the top hat is insane. The 0G stall is really good as well, and the 2 wave turns are surprisingly whippy. I could re-ride this all day, and when I first got off of it, it did not feel real at all. And despite the fact that it's 20 miles per hour slower than Fury, it feels like it goes faster. Number 1, Fury at Carowinds. I'm so blessed to have this at my home park. I mean, this is the ultimate roller coaster. It has the best drop I've ever experienced, and there's so much on this ride that is better than any other ride in the world. Another thing I love on coasters is the sense of speed, and this has a better sense of speed than any other coaster on this list. It's got a variety of elements that throughout the whole ride, and it's not repetitive whatsoever. It has everything I want in a coaster. Get out to Carowinds right now and ride this. I cannot recommend it enough. Well, that's it for the video. Can't wait to update this at the end of the year when I've done Cedar Point, Six Flags Over Georgia, and Air Force One. Make sure to subscribe and like the video. I'll see y'all later.